Welcome to this deep dive. We got some really interesting sources from you, bits from a guide, a pretty comprehensive article, all looking at how to build confidence when you're speaking English.
That's right. And what really jumps out, I think, from both is the thing they call the silent struggle.
Yeah,
It's that feeling where, okay, you understand English pretty well, maybe you read it fine or listening's okay, but actually speaking it, something just locks up.
totally. So our mission today really is to dig into these materials you sent and pull out the best bits, the most important insights. We want to help understand why that anxiety happens
Uh-huh.
and, crucially, how to start moving past it so you can actually use the English you've already learned.
Because English, well, it's the global connector, isn't it? Both sources really stress that. It
Yeah.
just opens so many doors, friendships, learning, work. And it's such a shame when that desire to connect gets blocked by, not feeling confident enough to speak.
Exactly. So today we'll get into where that anxiety comes from, those key mindset shifts that can make a real difference, practical steps for before, during, and after speaking,
Hmm.
how to practice effectively, and also how to handle those like little awkward moments in conversations. Basically, think of this as a shortcut from just knowing English passively to actually speaking it with more confidence.
Oh.
Okay, let's dive in.
So the first step, according to both sources, is really understanding what's going on under the hood when that speaking anxiety kicks in.
Okay.
It's not just like a random feeling. There are specific fears.
Right. They actually list them out. First one, fear of making mistakes.
Yeah.
That classic worry about grammar, wrong words, pronunciation. And the guide makes a good point. We seem to feel spoken mistakes much more acutely than written ones.
Yeah, it's that immediacy, isn't it? You say it, it's out there, no backspace.
Uh-huh.
And that taps into this underlying belief, which the article mentions. Mistakes are signs of failure and will lead to negative judgment. It feels like every little slip is, broadcast.
Yeah, like a spotlight on the error. And that ties right into the next one. The fear of judgment. Just worrying what people, native speakers, other learners, whoever, will think of your English.
The core thought being, people are focused on my flaws and will judge me harshly. Like everyone's grading you.
It's that vulnerability, putting yourself out there in a language that isn't your first.
Absolutely. And then there's the fear of not being understood. You have this idea, this thing you want to say,
Hmm.
but you worry, my English isn't good enough to convey my thoughts clearly. It's that gap between thought and expression. Super frustrating.
Oh, definitely. And the flip side, the fear of not understanding others. Someone talks fast, uses slang, has an accent you're not used to.
Right? And the fear is, I won't keep up and I'll look foolish.
Yeah.
That awkward moment where you just nod along, hoping they don't ask you a question.
Been there. And then, the fear of going blank, the mental block. You know the words are in there somewhere,
Yeah.
but under pressure, poof, gone. The thought is, when I need it most, my English knowledge will fail me.
And that's partly the anxiety itself interfering, right? It can literally sort of block access to what you know.
Makes sense. Then there's comparing yourself to others. You see someone speaking fluently, confidently, and you think everyone else is better than me. I'll never catch up. That feeling of inadequacy.
Which is tough, especially now with social media showing everyone's highlight reel. You don't see the practice, the mistakes they made to get there.
So true. And past negative experiences can really stick with you, can't they?
Yeah,
A bad moment speaking English, someone being critical.
definitely. It creates this conditioned response almost. The belief becomes, speaking English has led to negative outcomes before, so it likely will again. Your brain's trying to protect you in a way.
And the sources also mention personality, right? Like if you're naturally shy or introverted.
Uh-huh, or a perfectionist.
Yeah, that adds another layer, especially in a second language. The idea of not being flawless is just terrifying for some.
And finally, it's not just mental. There's the physical stuff, the racing heart, sweaty palms, knots in your stomach, shallow breathing.
The whole fight or flight thing.
Exactly, the body's stress response. And that physical feeling can actually loop back and make the mental anxiety even worse.
Wow, okay.
So just recognizing these specific fears, as the article says, is a huge first step. It makes the big, scary anxiety feel a bit more manageable, less like this vague monster.
Okay, so understanding the what, now how do we start actually tackling it? The sources really emphasize mindset. This seems foundational.
Totally. It's all about how you frame the whole thing in your head. And that trap versus shift model from the guide is pretty neat.
Let's break it down. First, embrace imperfection. The trap is that feeling like you have to be perfect, flawless, before you can speak confidently.
Right. And the shift is, well, it's about focusing on connection,
Right.
getting your message across. That's the goal, not zero errors. Like the article says, native speakers make mistakes constantly.
Yeah. Good reminder. Progress over perfection.
Mm.
Okay. Next shift. Reframe mistakes as learning opportunities. The trap is seeing every error as, like, proof you're failing.
But the shift is to see them as valuable intel,
Yeah.
feedback. Like, okay, I tripped up on that past tense, note to self, review that. Asking, what can I learn here, instead of just beating yourself up.
Love that. Intel. Then cultivate a growth mindset. The trap is that fixed idea. I'm just not good at languages. Talent is fixed. You either have it or you don't.
Whereas the growth mindset, the shift, is believing your abilities can actually be developed through effort, through practice. Speaking skills can improve. It's not set in stone.
That's empowering. Okay, next. Focus outward, not inward. The trap is being hyper-aware of yourself, constantly self-monitoring, worrying how you sound.
Yeah, that internal monologue running wild, the shift. Consciously put your focus on the other person. What are they saying? Really listen. Active listening. When you're truly engaged with them, there's just less brain space for self-criticism. You kind of forget to worry so much.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, practice self-compassion. Trap, being super harsh on yourself after you speak, especially if you feel you messed up.
And the shift is, well, treat yourself like you'd treat a friend. You wouldn't yell at a friend for making a mistake while learning, right?
No way.
So extend that same kindness to yourself. Acknowledge it's hard. It's okay to be nervous. Be gentle.
We really are our own worst critics sometimes. Okay, challenge negative thoughts. The trap is just letting those anxious thoughts, I'll sound stupid, no one will understand me, run unchecked.
The shift is to catch them, notice them, and then question them. Are they really 100% true? Try to reframe, like the example, instead of, I made so many mistakes, try, okay, I communicated my main idea and I noticed I need to work on that one sound.
Yeah, making it specific and actionable. Love that. And lastly, accept anxiety. Don't fight it. The trap is thinking you have to eliminate anxiety completely before you can speak.
Which is probably impossible, right?
Right.
So the shift, borrowing from ACP, acceptance and commitment therapy, is to just acknowledge the feeling. Okay, anxiety's here, don't judge it, and then act anyway. You can feel nervous and still have the conversation. Don't let the feeling stop you.
Like anxiety's in the car, but it's not driving.
Exactly. And the sources are clear. These shifts take practice. It's ongoing work. Maybe just pick one or two to focus on initially.
Good advice. It's not an overnight fix. It's about gradually changing that internal conversation.
Spot on.
Okay, mindset work is happening. What about practical stuff? Things we can do beforehand to feel more prepared, more capable, and hopefully less anxious. The sources list quite a few strategies here.
They do. And the big one, maybe the foundation, is consistent overall language practice, not just speaking.
Right. Because improving your listening helps you follow conversations better, which boosts confidence. More vocabulary and grammar give you more tools. And reading helps you see how sentences naturally flow. It all feeds into speaking.
So just that regular routine covering listening, reading, vocab, grammar, it builds that solid base. Then, more specifically, targeted vocabulary and phrase building.
This seems super practical. If you know you'll be in certain situations, work meetings, ordering coffee, whatever,
Yeah.
learn the language for those situations.
Yeah, learn chunks. Conversational connectors like, actually, so anyway. Phrases for managing the chat like, could you repeat that? Or, what does that mean?
Learning those chunks makes you sound more fluent, doesn't it? Less like you're translating word by word in your head.
Definitely. And then, dedicated pronunciation practice.
Because worrying if people understand you is a huge anxiety trigger. So working on clarity helps. The sources mention guides, videos, apps, shadowing.
Shadowing is great mimicking a native speaker. It helps with rhythm and intonation, not just single sounds.
Right, the music of the language. Okay, what about mental rehearsal and visualization? Sounds a bit out there.
Maybe, but it works. Actively imagining yourself having successful English conversations. Picturing it going well. Apparently, our brains don't always distinguish clearly between vivid imagination and reality.
Yeah, interesting.
So mentally rehearsing success can actually kind of prime your brain to feel less anxious when the real thing happens. Make the visualization sensory. What do you see, hear, feel?
Like a mental dress rehearsal.
Okay.
Okay. And then simple planning and preparation for specific conversations.
Yeah, if you've got a call or meeting coming up, spend a few minutes brainstorming topics, maybe noting down key points or questions, not a full script that sounds robotic.
Right, just some anchors.
Exactly. And setting small, achievable goals. This one's key.
Yeah, instead of be perfectly fluent, maybe it's ask one question or use that new phrasal verb I learned.
Makes it feel doable, breaks it down. And finally, know your strengths. Acknowledge what you can already do in English. Don't just focus on the gaps.
Good point. Leverage what you've got.
So, all this prep, it doesn't eliminate anxiety, probably. But it cuts down the uncertainty, boosts that feeling of being capable.
Okay, so we've prepped, we're working the mindset, but now you're in the conversation. And whoosh, the anxiety hits. What can you do right then and there? The sources have tips for that too.
Yeah, these are the real-time coping tools. And number one is often overlooked, your breath.
Because anxiety makes you breathe fast and shallow, right?
Totally. So, consciously shifting to deep belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, or box breathing. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Just a few cycles can really calm the nervous system.
Simple, but powerful.
Oh.
Okay, then grounding yourself in the present.
Because anxiety often drags you into worrying about the future or replaying the past. Grounding brings you back. Focus on your senses. What do you see, hear, feel?
Like notice your feet on the floor or the color of the wall.
Exactly. Anything to interrupt that anxious thought loop. Then, using positive self-talk. Your internal coach.
Having those little phrases ready. I can handle this.
Yeah.
It's okay to be nervous. One step at a time.
Yeah, actively counter the inner critic. And we mentioned this for mindset, but it's crucial in the moment too. Focus outward. Active listening.
Really tune into the other person. Ask questions. Summarize what they said.
Mhm.
Get out of your own head,
And consciously slow down your speaking pace. Anxiety makes us rush.
which can lead to more mistakes.
Right. So take a breath, slow down a bit, use pauses strategically, gives you time to think.
And those handy communication strategies,
Yeah,
like asking for clarification.
definitely. Sorry, could you repeat that? Or paraphrasing. So you mean just checking understanding.
And circumlocution. That's a good one. Talking about a word you don't know.
It's the thing for.
Yeah.
Keeps the conversation moving. Even using fillers like, strategically gives you thinking time.
And don't forget body language. Standing tall, making eye contact.
Mhm.
It can actually make you feel more confident.
It projects confidence, and yeah, it can feed back into how you feel. And, a genuine smile helps too. Releases endorphins, makes things feel a bit lighter.
So it's like having this toolkit ready to pull from when you feel that anxiety creeping up during the chat.
Precisely. Manage it, don't let it derail you.
Okay, toolkit assembled. But we know real confidence comes from, well, doing it, practicing. The source is stress creating safe, supportive environments for this, not just jumping in the deep end.
Exactly. Gradual exposure is key, and they suggest starting really safe. Just speak aloud to yourself.
Feels weird at first, maybe.
A little, but zero pressure. Narrate your day, read it more loud, summarize an article, just get used to making the sounds, forming the sentences.
Okay. And recording yourself. I know people find this one tough.
It can be cringy, yeah, but it's incredibly useful feedback. You hear your pronunciation, your fluency objectively. The trick is listening back kindly, focusing on maybe just one or two things to improve each time.
Right, not overwhelming yourself. And shadowing, again, great practice for rhythm, intonation.
Super effective. Start with short clips, maybe, then finding language exchange partners.
Good one. Someone else learning, low pressure, you help each other. You can start with texting if speaking feels too much at first.
Be clear about your goals. Or join conversation clubs or classes. More structure, teacher guidance, community.
That support network effect. And what about those small, everyday interactions?
Yes, low-stakes practice. Ordering coffee, asking for directions, quick chat with the cashier. Short, predictable, builds little wins.
Accumulates confidence. And role-playing specific scenarios.
Yeah, if you know you have, say, an interview coming up, practice it. Or complaining about something or whatever feels tricky, practice in a safe space first.
Reduces the fear of the real thing. And finally, practice talking about things you actually like.
Totally. When you're enthusiastic or knowledgeable about a topic, sometimes that energy overrides the anxiety.
So the theme is, start safe, build gradually, each positive experience helps.
Exactly. You're slowly reprogramming your brain's association with speaking English, from scary to manageable or even enjoyable.
But even with all that, awkward moments will happen, right? You forget a word, you make a mistake, silence falls. How do we handle those gracefully? The sources give specific strategies.
Yeah, having a plan B or C. So, situation one, I don't know the word. Panic sets in.
The confidence strategy,
Mhm.
circumlocution again. Describe it. It's the thing you use for. It's kind of like a keep talking around it.
Exactly. Keeps things flowing. Okay, next. Oops, I just made a mistake. Temptation. Freeze. Blush. Apologize profusely.
Confidence strategy. If it's minor, just ignore it. Keep going. If it's bigger and might cause confusion, quick, calm, self-correction, correct word phrase, then move on. Communication, not perfection, is the goal.
Spot on. What if they are speaking too fast?
Mm-hmm. This
Natural reaction. Nod blankly.
better way. Politely ask them to slow down or repeat. Excuse me, could you speak a bit slower? Or, sorry, could you say that again? Most people are fine with it.
Definitely. And related. I don't understand their accent. Tricky one?
Confident approach. Acknowledge it politely. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble with the accent. Could you maybe repeat that slowly? Combining it with slowing down helps.
Good combo. And the classic. Awkward silence. Feels like an eternity. Urge to babble nervously.
Confident strategy.
Mm-hmm.
First, just breathe. It's okay for a second. Use the pause. Then maybe ask an open-ended question, make a related comment, or gently change the topic. Having a couple of backup questions can help.
Right. Handling these moments well is actually a huge confidence booster in itself. It shows you can recover.
Builds resilience.
Yeah.
Makes you less afraid of them happening next time.
Exactly. Each successful navigation makes the next one easier.
So we've covered a ton, understanding fear, mindset, prep, in-the-moment tools, practice, handling hurdles. How do we make this stick? How do we cultivate long-term self-assurance? The sources had pointers for sustainability, too.
Yeah, it's about weaving these things into your ongoing journey. And a really big one is acknowledging and celebrating your progress regularly.
Not just focusing on how far you still have to go, but looking back at how far you've come. Even small steps.
Absolutely. Reward your efforts. Maybe even keep a progress journal, like the sources suggest. Note down speaking experiences, what went well, challenges, what you learned, how you felt.
That sounds really useful for actually seeing the improvement over time, which can be hard sometimes.
It really can. Concrete evidence helps fight that feeling of being stuck. And seeking constructive feedback wisely.
Meaning, ask specific questions, choose supportive people you trust, and be open to hearing it.
Right, not just asking, how's my English, but maybe, did you understand my main point about X? Or how was my pronunciation of Y? And building that supportive network.
Connecting with other learners, friends who get it, sharing the ups and downs, it normalizes the struggle and provides encouragement.
Definitely. And then, the big one, consistency is non-negotiable.
Just keep showing up. Make speaking practice a regular habit, even if it's short bursts. Little and often is better than huge, infrequent efforts.
Keeps the skills warm, reinforces the habits, and embrace lifelong learning. Stay curious. Keep learning new things in English. Seek new challenges.
Keep pushing the boundaries gently. The more you know, the more confident you feel.
And finally, revisit your why. Remember why you started learning English. What are your goals? What motivates you?
Yeah, reconnecting with that purpose can really fuel you when things feel tough.
So that long-term confidence, it's this mix, isn't it? Skill building, positive experiences, the right mindset, and just keeping at it consistently.
Like building muscle. You got to keep working it.
Exactly. It's an upward spiral. Each element feeds the others. It's a journey, not a destination you just arrive at.
Well said. Okay, wrapping up this deep dive.
Hmm.
If you felt that anxiety about speaking English, that silent struggle, know this. It is so common. You are definitely not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've hopefully shown today, based on these sources, it is absolutely conquerable.
And that core message, really, is that confidence isn't something you wait for before you speak. Speaking, even imperfectly, even nervously, is the path to building confidence.
We've covered a lot. Understanding the roots of the fear, shifting your mindset, prepping effectively, managing anxiety in the moment, practicing smart, handling those bumps in the road, and making it last.
So
That
that
thing.
next conversation, it's an opportunity. Start small, be kind to yourself along the way, and remember to notice and appreciate every bit of effort.
And remember, the English you've learned, it's a tool, a powerful one for connecting, expressing yourself, opening doors. Don't let anxiety keep it locked up. Your voice, your perspective, it deserves to be heard. So maybe take a moment now. Think about these strategies. Which ones clicked for you? And what's just one small